volume working okay? I guess you'll find out in a second.
So here. Can't hear it yet.
Well, I think there's a couple people out there, so get started in a second. Just want to make sure the audio, it looks like the audio is coming through. It is on OBS anyway. Good morning, Jordan. Anybody out there watching, can you just let us know if you can hear us okay? Audio's working. Perfect. Okay, well, I think there's a few people in here, so we'll get started. Yeah, so we'll go through what the JFR program is all about, and then we'll go into a bit more detail on how to apply, because it is a bit of a process now. It was changed a couple of years ago, so we'll make sure we go over that. And if you have any questions at any point, feel free to type in the chat. And Annika will answer those questions, and then we can also chat about them too. So yeah, we'll get started here. So generally, I tend to play a video, but we'll go ahead and skip the video for now. It's up on our YouTube page if you want to go and watch the official JFR video, which does a pretty good job of explaining what we do as a program in general. So if you haven't watched it, go check it out. So essentially, the JFR program is a work experience program for youth in Alberta, as well as a program for post-secondary students and graduates who are our leaders and sub-leaders for this program. So yeah, one of the major goals of this program is to showcase different careers that you could possibly go into in natural resource management, which breaks down further into a number of different fields that is encompassed by natural resource management. So that's wildfire, forestry, fish and wildlife conservation, environmental stewardship, and a few different other fields. So we do that. We showcase those different careers by our crews participating in different work projects and different educational opportunities. So every day our crews go out and take part in those different work projects to get some hands-on learning experience and learn different career skills and have an opportunity to talk to different individuals. So we're doing a live session. Sorry. So yeah, we'll go through what I mean by work project and what that might encompass. So we'll dive into it a bit deeper. So when we're doing our leader training, we encourage leaders to break down their calendar. So they're the ones who are planning all of these projects that happen during the summer. So they're doing all kinds of planning throughout the month of June. So they're networking with all kinds of different professionals and planning their whole summer calendar for the crew. for their respective crews. So we encourage them to break it down into a 70-30% split. So 70% of the time they're doing a hands-on work project. So that could be anything from building trails or boardwalks in a provincial park, doing stream assessments. There's an organization called TSAG that comes out to most of the crews every year and does some stream assessments and some macroinvertebrates testing and water quality testing. So throw on some waders and walking through some small rivers or streams and stuff, and it's a great way to test the quality of the water in your forest area. Other things we do, or you might do some building birdhouses or bat houses or anything along those lines. Most of our crews will do a day or two of tree planting. So that's getting in touch with a local forestry company and getting some seedlings provided by them to go out and plant in specific areas that they've already mapped out. Doing some fire smarting. So there's a program here in Alberta, well, it's nationwide, called fire smarting. So usually our crews will go out with somebody in the local forestry office, somebody who knows a lot about the fire smart program, and actually learn more about that fire smarting program and take part in some physical work, which is getting a great chance to use the brush saws and different tools that we train you on how to use. There's different community projects, so depending on the local area that you're in, you might be helping out some local organizations or companies or individuals that just need an extra hand. So always good to give some people some helping hand and being kind to those local people that could use some extra work. So that could be anything from painting a fence, or there's other different legacy projects that we have. Legacy projects, I mean, crews go back to those projects every year to help out different organizations. So you never know what the community projects are. A couple of years ago, I was up in Fort Mac, and they had some bad flooding there. So we helped out the local, I think it was the local Salvation Army. Their parking lot had some serious issues after the flooding, so we went out and just helped cleaned it up and made it look a lot nicer. So that was something that just little things like that to help out in the community. And then the other one is wildfire or mock fires. A lot of the different areas will put on a mock fire, or you'll have a chance to go out to an actual wildfire, which has been deemed under control. So you'll get out and able to find out what the crews do once the situation has been contained, and it's safe for our crews to go out and get a test of what some of the crews do when the fire's been deemed under control. So you boots in the ground and right in the ash, and it's an experience, that's for sure. And then the other 30% of the time, we aim for our crews to do more of an educational project. So that could be anything from getting a helicopter ride to learn about a pilot and what their role is during a wildfire, visiting a tanker base. So this project, or this picture in the middle, that's a Grand Prairie crew a few years ago, and they're visiting the tanker base, and you get to hop into the planes and check them out. If there's pilots around, you can potentially talk to them too. ATV training, all of our crews get a certain budget allotment to take part in some sort of certification that will help them towards a career in this field. So whether that's ATV training, whether that's wilderness first aid or a canoe certification, anything along those lines, we encourage our leaders to plan in the month of June, just depending on the area that you go to. Most of our crews will get a tour of a lumber mill and a cut block. They might tack that onto their tree planting, so you kind of get the whole process from start to finish and what that looks like. Climbing a lookout tower, so this picture right here on the right, our crews will get to climb those and talk to the lookout observers and understand what their job entails during the summer. Wildfire investigation, so sometimes some of the areas will actually put on a wildfire investigation course. You get to learn about what the investigators do during the summer, how they can understand the way a wildfire moves, and kind of understand where that fire originated and how it originated. So it's a really cool course, and those folks are really interesting to talk to. Yeah, and there's some other ones. There's always some flora and fauna identification skills that we do, some like bushcraft stuff, and anything along those lines. They're always great educational stuff. Whether like you could go on a medicinal plant walk, so it's always good to get a good foundation for those plants and animals in the area, being able to identify them. Diversity and culture. So a very important component of our program is Indigenous culture. And one way that we recognize that is doing our culture camp. So we encourage all of the crews to plan a 3-day Indigenous culture camp. So some of the crews are able to join up together to take part in a 3-day event where they're doing all kinds of things. So they might get an elder out or many elders, and there's been crews in the past who have been able to talk to them. They'll share stories. They've even participated in a sweat. Some crews will make bannock, set up a teepee, do some arts and crafts. Some crews have caught some fish and learned how to gut them and smoke them. Some hide tanning. There's all kinds of stuff that our crews get to do, and it's a fascinating aspect of our program. Accommodations. So this is a big one. So you're stationed on a wildfire base for about 7 weeks. The first week or so is all training. So we're all stationed at the Hinton Training Center. So if you've never been to the Hinton Training Center or heard of it, it's basically, if you want to think dorm room accommodations, and also a school attached to it. So we do a bunch of classroom stuff and out of the classroom training there, but then you're also living in a dorm room as well for about six days at the start of July. But then once you arrive at your location, all the locations are slightly different from each other, but they all contain the same sort of trailers or facilities on site. So this picture here is the Grayling Fire Base up in Fort McMurray. I think this building on the left-hand side with the green roof is a typical trailer, ATCO housing trailer that our crews will stay in. So it's single room occupancy with COVID. So we're still maintaining that policy throughout this year. So this is kind of a classic setup with the office. That middle building here, and then there's some other facilities on the base. There's a kitchen and small dining room attached to it. There is a washroom facility with showers. There's, on most of the bases, they have like a rec room, so it has a TV and some couches, some games, that sort of thing. There's also most of the areas have a gym facility on site, so if you want to use some weights, it's just a matter of scheduling some time potentially to go in there and work out inside those facilities if you would like. So the accommodations are pretty nice on the different bases. Some of them, it's getting more rare, but this is a cabin out in the Shunda area. So Rocky Mountain House crew we're stationed in these small A-frame cabins. So I don't know. We didn't have a crew there last year. I'm not sure of their condition this year, but I've heard they're still pretty good. So if all goes well, then that crew would be staying in those small A-frame cabins. If not, we would bring in another trailer. And then some nights you're spent in a tent. So this is the Calgary crew a few years ago. They just brought some tents out. You do some cooking for yourselves. This is more for crews that just want to cut down on driving time. So if you have a project that's maybe a little bit farther away, so your leaders will have you all bring some tents and you just camp out for a night or two. So you're not driving an hour or 2 hours to your work site in the morning and back at the end of the day. Because the JFR program is under Alberta wildfire, the province is divided up into 10 different forest areas inside the forest protection area. So we utilize those 10 forest areas every year. So we'll utilize 9 of them. Nine out of those 10 every year. So this year we're still waiting to finalize that. What area is not going to have a JFR crew this year? But if you If you want to learn more about each of the areas, there's some information up on the JFR website. There's still, I think, 3 areas left that I have to get the documents uploaded for, but the rest of them are up there, and you can have a look at each area and kind of the top 5 project. There's a few pictures from each area, but I also encourage you to go check out the video blogs that are on our YouTube page if you haven't done so. They're divided up into playlists for each area, and you can go check out some of the video blogs from the last few years, give you a really good idea of what those crews did over those last few years and what to expect in those different areas. And then meals, again, because we're lucky to be under wildfire, we get to utilize their same meal plans that they have, their meal contracts. So what we usually do is have breakfast on base. You'll get a bagged lunch, and then have dinner back at your base. So all the meals are provided. So you just have to walk up with a tray, and they provide you with a plate, and you can tell the chefs what you would like. Basically, kind of buffet style. Fed really well. There's access to snacks and drinks and stuff throughout the day as well. In the evenings, if you get hungry. So you're set up pretty well, and there's no cost associated with the meals or accommodations at all during the summer. That's all covered, so there isn't really any cost associated with the program at all. But I'll get into one cost when we get to the equipment. Team development. So how the program works is it is a summer job. So you're working Monday to Friday, 8:15 to 4:30. So expected to be working during those hours, but then afterwards you're still living on the wildfire base. So during the evenings and on weekends, our crews get to take part in a variety of different activities. So some days the crews just might be pretty tired from the day, so you might just hang out on base, have a campfire, relax, maybe watch a movie in the camp or in the rec room. You might play some board games, whatever the crew wants to do. Other times the leaders might want to plan something for an evening, might have some activities planned, visit the local rec center, visit going into town if it's close enough. And then on the weekends, it's usually more spent for outdoor rec days. So the crews will take part in a variety of different outdoor rec stuff. So maybe you go mountain biking if your crew wants to bring mountain bikes. You might go fishing. If your area has access to canoes and kayaks, you might go canoeing and go on a canoe or kayak trip. The Rocky crew was lucky enough to do some rock climbing a couple years ago. They did a bit of a work exchange with a company, and the gentleman provided some rock climbing for the crew on a weekend. So yeah, it just depends on. It's an awesome opportunity for the crew to grow as a team and take part in some fun stuff on the weekends that you don't typically get to do at home. So all of the work projects, or most of them, our crews get to use a variety of different tools. So anything from Pulaski, this thing in the middle, to axes, shovels. If you're building trails, this little thing down here in the bottom left corner is called a Swedish brush axe, and it's good for limbing trees or taking out small brush. And then the other things we get to do, we're trained on the brush saw. So it's basically, if you've never used one, it's kind of like a weed whacker, but has a bit more power to it. You can also change the head on it to have a saw blade on the end. So it's great for if you're making a trail or doing a fire smart project. It's great for taking out smaller shrubs or smaller saplings, that sort of thing. So those are great to use, and you have a harness when you wear it, and it rests on the harness, so it's not too much weight that you're lifting. And then some of the crews will get trained on chainsaw. All of our leaders will have the option to get trained with the chainsaw, so going at potentially level 2. So that's your Bucker's license. So we do a 3-day chainsaw course with potentially 1 or 2 of the JFR crews during the summer. If we have time, we'll potentially get out to more, but that depends on how the summer goes. So that's definitely potentially an option. We try to get out to crews. If we have a second year crew this year, we will train the second years on a chainsaw. If not, we might visit those crews that do have a second year crew member on them. Personal protective equipment. So all of our crews will get these yellow, what they call Nomex outfits. that our crews wear during our work project. So we provide those. We also provide the hard hat and the earmuffs and the face shield, as well as we do provide some gloves and some eye protection. We always encourage all the crew members who are coming into the program to purchase their own, or at some point during the summer maybe purchase their own, because the ones we do provide, they tend to be a little bit bigger and bulkier, so might just not super dexterous wearing those gloves. So always encourage people to bring their own gloves, but we do provide that if you would like. So, and the one cost associated with the program is making sure you have steel-toed boots. So all of this information, though, we do provide everybody when we send out our offer packages to anybody that we hire. We give a list of all the equipment that you're required to bring, optional stuff that you would like to bring. So the steel-toed boots are something that you are required to bring with you. And then personal gear. So we do have access to tents and backpacks. If you don't have a tent, don't need to bring your own personal tent. We have tons. And then backpacks, we also have some extras. If you ever want to, if you don't have like a big camping backpack, that's okay. We can always provide you with one for the summer. And then other stuff that you're required to bring, or we recommend bringing, is you definitely need some sort of sleeping bag. We do not provide bedding of any kind, so a sleeping bag and a pillow. Also a sleeping pad if you don't have one. They're always great to have if you do go camping. We do have a few spares here in Edmonton, but we do encourage you to bring your own sleeping pad. Always helpful to get off the ground when you're camping. Steel-toed boots, as I mentioned. Rain gear, you definitely want some rain gear for the summer. We work in rain or shine, so definitely need some rain gear. And then just proper clothing for the summer, warm clothing too as the summer goes on, especially when we get to the end of the summer. The weather can definitely get a little bit colder at night. Sunglasses, hat, and then other camping gear, proper shoes outside of the your working hours. So some running shoes or some sandals, whatever you're comfortable in. And then extra camping gear, so a plate and a bowl. We will be providing some bamboo utensils this year, so if you don't have your own camping utensils, we can help out with that. And then any other camping gear that people like to bring. We also provide everybody with a Mora knife. Right here, right beside me, these things. So we do some bushcraft training during member training and teach you how to use these properly. They're incredibly useful to have during the summer, so those are always a good thing to hand out to the crew members, and they get some experience with those, practicing carving. They're great for bushcraft. And then at the end of the summer, all of our crews get back together. So we do all of our training together in the Hinton Training Center. We go through, I think there's about 5 or 6 days that we go through. We do a number of stuff during training. And then after training is done, all the crews get in their work vehicles with their leaders and then take off to their respective areas that they're stationed in for the summer. And then we get back together at the end of the summer, which is always an awesome way to finish off the summer with our 2-day event called Bull of the Woods. So crews will arrive on the Monday of the last week, and then the Tuesday is an Indigenous Culture Day. We get some dancers and drummers out there. We get an elder to come out and do some storytelling. We do some hand games and other potentially other traditional games that we do. Make some bannock. It's a great day. And then that evening we also do like a big slideshow from a bunch of pictures that your leaders send to us. And then the next day is a big competition. So all of the crews take part in 6 different events. Anything from, we got some pictures up here. So this one, the top right, is a sweet saw relay. So 3 people will take turns operating the sweet saw, cutting off a wood cookie. This one in the middle is the melon roll challenge. So 2 JFR crew members will roll the hoses, latch them together and throw them in the air. And then this bottom picture is fire lighting. So it's lighting a small fire and burning through some nylon rope. And then there's a few others. There's a Jeopardy style game, Jiffer Jeopardy we call that. There is a MasterChef event. Potentially COVID allows us to do that one. There is a communication challenge, so just testing the communication abilities of a crew, which is always a fun one to take part in. And then there's a couple other potentials that we might throw in there. And then there's ultimately a winner at the end of the event. it's just an awesome way to finish off the summer. And then once that competition is done, we hand out a bunch of awards at the end of the day, and then all the crews take off on that Wednesday late afternoon, or you're welcome to stay for dinner, and then head on home after that. So this event, depending on how COVID is this summer, 2 years ago, we ran it virtually, which was okay. And then last year we were able to get all the crews back together, and we were able to run a successful Bull of the Woods, but we did not invite family and friends, which we have typically done before a pandemic hit. So this upcoming season, the plan would be to invite family and friends if COVID allows us. If not, it will just be the crews again, but it's family and friends can come and hang out at the fire base, and then they can either camp at a hotel in Edson or stay in a local campground and just head on over for those 2 days. So it's and then if you're there on site, then you can just take your son or daughter home after that event is over. So yeah, how to apply. I am just going to go over this, but I'll touch on it briefly before I show you how to do this, because this is definitely, it can be a little bit confusing. So what you need to do is head on over to the Alberta Job Board and search out the crew member job posting. And once you do that, you can create a profile. So all you need for a profile is your email address, and then you create a password, and then you're good to go from there. And then you're able to see your profile from there. But then what you have to do from your profile is actually apply to the crew member position. And then on your crew member, in that crew member position, you have to upload the JFR application document. So there's 3 parts to that. I'll get into the requirements in a second. So there's 3 parts to the application process. So part A is creating, and all these documents are right up on the JFR website under the application section. But these documents, part A is filling out just some personal information, and then a letter of interest. It's kind of like a cover letter, if you've ever created a cover letter, but there's some specific questions that we want you to answer. And then at the bottom of that, there's also the top 3 locations that we want you to select. And then when we are in the middle of our selection process, or when we finalize our selection process, that's when we start to take a look at your top 3 choices, and we definitely try to accommodate that for you when we are placing you on a crew. The next part B, is a fitness test, which also includes something called a PAR-Q form. So the PAR-Q form, you are just filling out a document to make sure that you are okay and physically fit to take part in this fitness test that we're asking you to complete. So it's a 3.2 kilometer or 2 mile walk, and you have to wear a 25-pound backpack, whether you have a weight vest or if you just want to pack in a weight and some towels into a backpack and tighten that right up. And then you have to walk that distance in 30 minutes or less. And then just have somebody time you. You can, what I find is the easiest thing to do for this, is we get a lot of questions on this one, is having a teacher or a coach. Generally maybe just doing it during gym class if that's acceptable, or on lunch or something, just getting somebody else, a teacher or coach, to time you. If not, it's okay to have a parent or somebody time you as well. It's just, you can map it out on Google Maps or something, and just make sure it's a flat surface for the most part. And just map that out and walk it in 30 minutes or less. You don't have to set a record time, as long as you get 30 minutes or under. That's what we want to see. And then the last one is just getting 2 references. So these reference forms are right up on our website. You can send those to 2 different individuals, have them fill it out, and they can, if whatever they would like, they can either send it back to you, or they can send it to us, and we can upload those documents to their profile for confidentiality reasons. Any sort of extracurricular activities, or clubs or associations, getting a reference from some of those individuals definitely helps us in our selection process. So I'll just go over the requirements quickly. So you have to be a full-time high school student in Alberta between the ages of 16 and 18 years old as of July 1st. So if you're 15 now and you turn 16 before July 1st, then you can definitely apply. If you're 18 and turning 19 after July 1st, you're good to go. If you are graduating this year from high school, you can absolutely apply, as long as you're between those ages of 16 to 18 years old. And then you also have to have a valid SIN. So you need that because we do all of our banking direct deposits. so you need that as well to get a job. Hiring info, so just some stuff we look at. So we're always looking at making sure you're a part of a team. So whether you're part of clubs or different sports, jobs, whatever teamwork you want to show on your letter of interest is great. Outdoor skills, so comfortable working outside for the summer. If you have some experience in bushcraft or tool experience, camping experience, hiking, whatever other outdoor ed stuff or outdoor rec stuff you want to list in your letter of interest. And leadership skills, so anybody applying, they're still pretty young, so you might not have a ton of leadership experience, but maybe looking to improve on that, so that's something you can outline as well, or during the interview stage. If you do have some leadership experience, if you're a captain or assistant captain on a team, a hockey team, or if any sort of leadership experience you have in school, always good to highlight those, because it is a core pillar of our program, leadership. So we look to improve those skills during the summer. So we definitely get you out of your comfort zone a little bit and put you in those situations where you have that ability to be a leader on your crew for certain times during the summer. And then probably one of the biggest ones is knowing what you're signing up for. So anybody here listening today it's great that you're listening to this presentation. I definitely encourage you to go look more into the videos and pictures and stuff we have up on social media, our YouTube, Facebook page, Instagram. We're pretty active on those, so check out all of that stuff to get a better sense of what this program has to offer. And then it's the wage we have is $15 an hour plus meals and accommodations, certificates, all those skills that you earn are covered for the summer. The only cost I mentioned before is just making sure you have the proper gear coming into the program. So I'll show you in terms of the Alberta Job Board. So when you head over to this website, you can just type in JFR and it'll be the only one to pop up. The JFR Crew Member position. Once you click on that, this will outline the job in some details.
I think we lost connection.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure. We took a look at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on?
Oh, yeah, there's nobody watching.
Save your voice. Maybe we save that part for the next one.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know why.
That just stopped. Yeah, that's odd.
Just quite.
That's okay. Did we get any more viewers than 2 or 3?
We got 3. I think is the max, which is good. I think it's too bad that it's the middle of the day, so it's kind of hard.
Totally.
Hard
Yeah.
to see. But you have so many good asides and information about the pictures. I'm like, shoot. I don't know if I'll be able to.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
to make.
Because I've been doing this for 6 years, Annika. That's why. It's very, very fluid for me. So, yeah, the more you do it, the more that'll come for sure.
Gotcha. All right, I'm gonna end the stream.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? It's not working for some reason.